I think both sides win this trade. I mean, you're talking about two of the main guys that were traded were guys on both teams that were like supposed to be the number two guy, but no one ever really gave them the respect that they deserved, probably because they didn't go out and get it. And another part is that it cost a lot of money. So that's kind of like the main reason why I think this trade works in the way that it does. Karl-Anthony Towns, easily the second best player on the Minnesota Timberwolves. Anthony Edwards took that from him as like number one. Cat goes number two, but was it really number two? Even though they went to the Western Conference Finals, Cat played the most aggressive that I think he's played in his entire career that I've seen. And they did fairly well, right? I mean, they kind of choked and played very poorly in the Western Conference Finals, but that's just going to happen. They played very well up until that point. I mean, if you beat the Nuggets, it's gonna be a good time, right? But he just felt off. He just felt kind of weird, and they were paying him a lot of money, and so they frankly didn't want to pay him the money, got rid of him, and got back a guy who kind of does what they wanted to do in the first place. Now, the main problem with this is they spent so much time trying to figure out the Cat and Gobert situation to just let Cat go. And I don't even know if the thought process was like, oh man, this is a failure, let's get rid of him. Because A, it took way too long in the offseason for that to happen. So that's probably why it's about money. And B is because you went to the Western Conference Finals again. So, like, it's not the problem, like the Cat sucked and they got rid of him. They would have flipped him like that if he was trash. He wasn't trash. It just seemed weird. Everyone knew about it from what I've seen. Everyone was kind of like, And same with Julius Randle, where, okay, you got Brunson's number one guy, and Julius Randle's been like a three-time All-Star. But at the same time, he's not like really like the second best player because he only played 46 games this season. So it's very interesting. So we got Julius Randle stats right here. I mean, last year, All-Star, he's 29, still in his prime time, right? 24 points per game, 30% from three. That's way worse than I thought. 46 games. And, I mean, as a Clippers fan myself, I'm not going to knock anybody for health ever. That's just not how I roll. But, I mean, 46 games, pretty tough. The Knicks could have been a lot better. I mean, maybe he could have averaged maybe 25, 26, bolstered, maybe 27, bolstered their lineup a lot. Julius Randle's a good player. But I think the Knicks definitely got rid of a guy who was kind of just there. I mean, they're all talking about the Nova Knicks, and then you got Julius Randle. And it's like, ooh. And then pair that with the fact that you lose Isaiah Hartenstein, and you're like, oh, we got Mitchell Robinson, who's probably not coming back till January. That's tough. And then we got 6'8" Julius Randle playing the 5. I'd rather have OG play the 5. So they got rid of him, got a real 7-footer. Not talking about playing defense. That's not Cat's like main objective in New York or anywhere. But, I mean, he could shoot threes, and he's a big man. He's a 5. He can play the 5. So I think it'll be really interesting to see Jalen Brunson, who's a guy who likes to play in the paint, post up. He's kind of like plays like old CP. Like, kind of back to the basket, fade away, snake inside the paint, and then you got Cat flaring out for a 3. Then on the corners, you got OG, Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges, whatever you got to do. Oh, man. The real kicker here is Donte Divincenzo. The fact that the Timberwolves, I almost want to say that they won the trade because they got Donte Divincenzo. They did not need to do that. This could have been a one-on-one just trade. But the fact that they got Donte is a big deal, a bigger deal than people think. Because the Knicks don't have him coming off the bench. They have instead Miles McBride, and then you kind of have to I guess you have Campaign. Like, it's just kind of interesting. If you had Donte coming out, you have a backup shooting guard like that, that's a really solid, like thick lineup. But now the Knicks kind of are following in the Celtics thing where it's like, hey, let's have like 6 really solid guys. Then we got some other guys that can contribute here. That's not what we saw from like the Mavericks, who like went crazy with their roster and filled it out. The Pacers filled out roster, right? Celtics just kind of like they got their guys. We're going to see how that works for Philly. We're going to see if Cat actually can pull that off and make a difference in Philly, if he can average more than he did last year. Let's check it out. So Cat last year averaged 21.8, so 22. 40% from 3 on 5 threes a game. I mean, that probably bumps up to maybe 6. A lot of pick-up pops. If he can shoot 40% from 3, Oh boy, I mean that's gonna be crazy. He's not like that far off of 50, 40, 90 from a big man. I mean, point 0.3 away. That's not like that hard to do. If he just shoots a little bit better, you see center, 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 all the way down power forward. He's gonna be going back to center for New York undoubtedly. Then we got OG at the 4, or I guess Josh Hart would be the 4. I don't know. It's like a PJ Tucker situation. He kind of led the path for that. But I like this for both teams. I mean, Cat's not a bad player. I really like Cat. I think this is good that both teams kind of got what they needed. I mean, once again, the Timberwolves getting Donte Divencenzo was massive. I mean, you got Mike Conley, Ant, Divincenzo, Jay McDaniels, and Rudy Gobert. And then Naz Reid, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Rob Dillingham. I mean, they got some guys out in Minnesota, dude. Everyone's saying that they got worse. Let's not act like Cat was like that much of a threat. Like, he really wasn't. He was good. Wasn't that much of a threat. I mean, let's talk about it. Look, played 16 games in the playoffs last year, or this past season. 19 points on 14.5 shots. Like, he shot 46% from the field as a big man. 7 for, 6. You see it. It's not that good. 36% from 3. Like, his numbers dropped. So let's not talk that Cat was like this big factor for the Timberwolves. He wasn't. It was Ant. Let's talk about it. It was Ant and Naz Reid. That's where everyone's getting, like their grandma's getting Naz Reid tattooed, wherever the freak they're getting it tattooed at. It's because Cat was not that big of a deal. Julius Randle was not that big of a deal for the Knicks either. Injured, didn't play the whole season, basically. And it was Brunson and homies. And now they got Mikal Bridges, and now they got Cat. And it's going to be very interesting to see how they swap and how both players can kind of come back from this and be in a position that was better for them. You know, Julius Randle was playing the 5 when I think he's really a 4. And Cat, complete opposite. Cat's playing the 4 when he's really a 5. So it's very interesting. I'm really excited to see how this goes. I had the Knicks before this trade. I thought that they were going to win the first seed just because when you look at repeat champions, the repeat champions on the first run, they get like the first seed, and then like after that, like the Warriors, 2017, 2018, they were like the second seed. They didn't win 70 games. They won like 58 games in their second championship and still went to the playoffs and like killed everyone and still won the championship. So that's just what I thought the Celtics are going to do. I don't think they're going to go for like 64 wins again. They're going to drop down. Knicks are going to come in, stacked lineup, win a ton of regular season games, especially with the lineup like this, get the first seed. So that looks pretty good for my prediction as well. Timberwolves, I mean, I'm still yet to do both videos for contenders and pretenders for both of these teams, so we can factor that into this. It's gonna be really, really fun. But outside of that, bro, I don't really do these, but if you like this, let me know. Kind of hop on and just look at some stuff. And anyways, that's all I got for today. Contenders and pretenders coming out tomorrow, Saturday. If you've not watched those or you're new, every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday until the season starts October 22nd. So got a lot of teams left. I think we got like 19 or 18 teams left. I'm trying to squish it in before the season starts. We're going to try and go hard. I got a lot of them written down. So, that's all I got. We out.